So I know the Wonder Woman poster behind me looks pretty misplaced, but it was either that or have like a ring light glare in the background for the entire video. I felt really inspired to do kind of a funky makeup, sort of a tutorial, sort of a talk through, but maybe wouldn't be very informative. I don't know. Maybe it'll be instructive, maybe it won't be. And to put more of a booktube twist on it, I decided to also do the booktube newbie tag. I've looked through the questions, I've kind of drafted some answers so I'm not just fumbling my way through it later. So I do have a bit of makeup on. I have concealer and I have my brows filled in. Step 0 is to powder my nose because it's shiny. Ooh. So since I already know what sort of look that I'm going to be doing today, I thought that for this video to be executed more smoothly, I would go about it by first explaining what I'm gonna do on my face, and while I'm doing said action, I will answer a question from the tag. So step 1 is I'm going to prime my eyes and I'm going to set it with an eyeshadow that's around my skin color. Question 1 is, why did you start this channel? This channel specifically, I've had for a few years, I think. Originally, I wanted to only do makeup videos, but I decided to also join booktube because frankly, I was already consuming all sorts of booktube content and I had the interest, you know, I wanted to, and I decided that I'm not really looking to make this a full-time job or anything like that. I'm kind of just doing it for fun. So I really don't need to box myself into a niche. A lot of people recommend that you find a niche, but that's more in the context of wanting to build a huge following and wanting to make a business out of this, a brand out of this, but I don't really need that. I kind of just want to make my own content. So now that like I have decided to join booktube and I've started kind of dipping my toes into making more bookish videos, I thought it would be great if I could incorporate a lot of my other interests like makeup. Okay, we're gonna get started on some fun stuff in step 2. I am going to be applying this shade all over my eye and gonna blend it as well. This is the shade Jet Set by Colored Raine. So the second question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? And the thing about this question is that I've seen quite a few other people do this tag, and it seems like this is kind of a not very popular question because it's like, I don't know, I'm a newbie. How would I know whether something is fun or unique, you know? And I kind of agree with that. I think what ideas I have for my channel are kind of interesting, but are maybe not the most unique because I have come across videos of people doing similar things. So for me, it would be what I said earlier about incorporating a few of my different interests in. I just would love to do the typical booktube thing and a typical beauty YouTube thing, but not on their own. I kind of want to mishmash them all together, you know? I guess that's my answer. This is so hard to blend. I'm gonna go in with a clean brush and try to do some damage control. I don't know. I just have always been keen on the idea that you should make the content that you want to see. And something that I really enjoy watching are more relaxing content, you know? Maybe some vlogs, some reading vlogs. So yeah, I wouldn't say that I have the most revolutionary of ideas, but that is generally where I'm trying to go. I guess this is a long step, so I can just do another question while I'm here. Question 3 is, what are you most excited for this new channel? And honestly, I want to make more bookish friends. You know, like I have well, I was gonna say a few. I think I only really have one friend who's into reading IRL, and we do kind of have very different tastes. So I think it would be great to have more friends that I can talk about books with. The thing about getting older, the thing about where I am in my life now, let's put it that way, is that I feel very nostalgic for the young me who had so much time to spend on forums and stuff. And I had a lot of like friends on mainly Harry Potter forums, and it was just so much fun to have like a group or even like several groups of online buddies that You know, I would come home from school, have lunch, log on and chat with people until it was time for dinner, or you know, time to do my homework, but really time for dinner. And it was just so much fun, and I miss that so much, just having like this group of people that I've never met and I may never meet with a shared interest, and we would just talk. I've lurked enough on book Twitter to be able to witness a lot of really cool and fun friendships, and it's like I want that for me too, you know? So yes, that. But also I think this channel would be a really good outlet for my creativity and my narcissism. So yeah, those are the two main things really. Before we proceed, I'm just gonna quickly handle this fallout situation here with some makeup remover and some concealer. So next I'm gonna do kind of a half cut crease. So I'm going to be packing on some white concealer. Don't buy from this brand. There are plenty of white crayons or concealers and whatnot. We don't support anti-vaxxers in this house. So I put the concealer on my hand and I'm gonna use like a dense packing brush to kind of hopefully carve that out well. We'll see. Question 4 is, why do you love reading? And that is a fun question. It's mostly for the escapism. I think a lot of people would probably have a similar answer as me, but I just love that for that hour or however long you read, you can just take off your real life mask, whatever that may mean to you, and just put on someone else's mask just for a little bit. You know, experience life through someone else's lens for a bit. This is very messy, but that's okay. That's why this is only semi-instructional. Another reason why I love reading is that I just remember when I could read so much. I was one of those kids that would just read and read and read and read. Back when I was in primary school especially, but also like early secondary school, I would just read all the time. And part of me wants to recapture my glory days in that sense, you know? Okay, well, the quality of this is questionable at best, but we're just gonna pretend like everything's okay. Maybe I'll just say it's meant to be a grungier look. So next I'm going to be packing on this color, which is Flamepoint by Sugarpill, and I'm just gonna pat it on where I put the white earlier. So question 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? I probably have a very typical answer actually, and that answer is Harry Potter. To be honest, I probably was a reading fanatic even before I read Harry Potter. Harry Potter, I would say, was the book series that got me into reading maybe more grown-up books. Because prior to that, I think the majority of the books I would read were Enid Blyton, more short stories than anything, not really like a full thick book that was just one whole story in itself. I definitely credit Harry Potter with my current love for reading, although it's probably inaccurate to say that it was what made me an avid reader. But yeah, Harry Potter is pretty much my first book series, and it was kind of funny. As a kid, I never really I had never really encountered the idea of a book series. You know, like, I was aware that one author can write multiple books because Enid Blyton, Enid Blyton? Sorry. So like the whole concept of a series of books that you need to read in a certain order, that was foreign to me at that point. Even when I got into Harry Potter, I didn't get into it correctly, because the first book I ever read from Harry Potter was Chamber of Secrets. And I was like, wow, this is so fun. And I didn't even discover the existence of the Philosopher's Stone until like much later on. I don't even know how many years later on, maybe 2 or 3. Like, that's a little bit embarrassing to think about. So my dad was living in the US, but my mom and the rest of us were in Malaysia, because my dad was working there and we didn't end up going with him. So we were visiting him, and this was during a time when I was really into reading, and I didn't bring any books with me because I wasn't the planner or the packer that I am today. So I was about 7 and my mom was like, okay, we need to get these kids some books. So I got 2 books and my brother got 2 books, and one of the books I picked was Chamber of Secrets because I saw the cover and I was like, ooh, spooky. I wanted to read something spooky, and it was appropriate for children. So my mom was like, okay, sure, whatever. And so she bought that for me. So that was like my first Harry Potter book. I remember I read it like twice, back to back. Like I finished reading it and I started reading it again. You know, like that was how into it I was. And then I think either that year or the year after that, my aunt got me Prisoner Azkaban for Christmas, and I was like, oh, amazing, it's a series, there's more of this. So yeah, so those were my first 2 books. It was the first series that I ever like would save up my pocket money to buy. So next I'm gonna be doing my eyeliner, and it's gonna be this Suva Beauty Hydra FX. It's more than a liner, but I'm gonna use it as an eyeliner. It's in the shade Acid Trip, and it's cool because it will glow under UV light. So to activate it, you can use water. I'm just gonna use some Fix Plus because it's what I have right now. Just spritz it like this, and then you just need to take a brush to activate it like that. So how thin it is and how opaque it is will depend on how much water you use, pretty much. So question number 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? The main one I want to know is, how do you get comfortable talking to a camera? I don't think I'm super shy. Well, kind of. I am kind of shy. But I'm usually okay when I'm like talking one-on-one. And talking to a camera is pretty much like talking one-on-one, because it's not until I edit it and upload it that other people will see. So it's very different from public speaking. But yeah, how do y'all get comfortable talking to a camera? Okay, so the next question I have is also, how do y'all read so much? I will watch someone's like reading vlogs that's like, oh, weekend reading vlog, and they would read like 2 600-page books or something, and I'm like, what? How? Genuinely, I'm filming this on the Ides of March 15th, and I read 4 books this year. This liner is not going well for me. But yeah, I'm just curious to know if it's because like a lot of booktubers are masters at speed reading, or maybe they genuinely just devote more time to reading than I do, which I admittedly sometimes, if I'm not in a reading mood, I literally just do nothing. So fair enough, like I'm probably not as devoted to the reading game as a lot of other booktubers are. But still, it's incredible the numbers that some people can pull. I'm gonna use a flatter packing brush like this and go back into that Jet Set shade and do my lower lash line. Question number 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel would be the hardest to overcome? Did I say that right? Yes, I did. It's really just, I think, getting into the habit of it. I do want to be a booktuber who posts consistently, maybe once a week or so, and I feel like that would be very tough for me because I rely on mood quite a lot, in that, oh, if I feel like reading today, I'll read. If I had planned to read today and when it comes to the time, I decide that, oh, actually I really want to know how to make crepes, I will just abandon my initial plan and do what I feel like doing. So I feel like that would be the toughest thing for me if I want to become like consistent in this, which I do. It's really editing, I think, that would be the toughest for me to like find the mood to do all the time. I think I'm alright with filming for the most part. I'm just kind of pulling it down here because I want it to be more blue in front. The other thing is, of course, you know, getting comfortable talking in front of a camera and getting comfortable with all the weird speech patterns that I have, because I realize when I edit, I'm always like, oh no, I said here, cut, and I just want to be able to speak more comfortably and more like myself and not have to worry about cutting all of that out, I guess. So that's another thing that I need to overcome. Okay, this was a mistake. Oops. But you know what? That's okay, because it's just makeup, and after this disaster of an eye look, I can just wash it off. So it's okay. We're just here to have fun. Life is too short to be stressed about funky eyeshadow placement, okay? Makeup is art, and art doesn't necessarily have to be pretty. Okay, so for blush, when I do more colorful looks like this, I tend to prefer to go more neutral with it when it comes to blush. And what is more neutral than bronzer? And question number 8 is, when did you start reading? Growing up, I went to this English center where I basically built my English skill to where it is now. I started going there when I was about 2 years old, maybe 3, and it started off with more basic toddler classes. Like, I think I went for like kiddie drama. My mom sent me to kiddie drama so I could be more self-confident and be able to socialize. I don't know if that really worked out that well, but it was fun. So one of the classes I took at that center was reading, and how it worked was that every class we would pick a book from a little, I remember the teachers would have like a huge little tray and full of like short kiddie books, and we would pick a book, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we would read a book in class and read it out to the teacher, and we would also take a book home, and then we had to come back the next week and read that to the teacher too, or the teacher would ask questions about it. I can't really remember. So for highlighter, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have something more interesting? This is Cover FX in the shade Halo. So what it looks like. Isn't it gorgeous? I'm just gonna apply this on my cheekbones. So question number 9 is, where do you read? So I mainly read ebooks. I also do have a handful of physical books that I have purchased and have not read yet. Apart from that, most new books are ebooks, because at this point in time, I am not really looking to increasing the number of physical books I own because storage is an issue. So yes, I don't do audiobooks just because I can't really concentrate if it's just audio and no visuals. Like, I cannot absorb what's happening, or my mind drifts off super easily. It just doesn't work for me. I wish it did, but it doesn't. In terms of where physically I read, mainly in my room. I like to kind of just chill on my bed with a tumbler of tea and just read. If I'm feeling rich, I might venture out into a cute cafe and park there, but for the most part it's in my room. So I have one last question and still 2 steps to go. I have to curl my lashes and do my mascara, and I have to do lipstick. And I think I'm more capable of speaking while doing my mascara than I am speaking and applying lipstick, so I'm going to use the last question on that. And the last question is, what kind of books do you like to read? So for the most part, I find that my favorite books tend to be middle grade and YA. In terms of like specific genres, I don't know. I like contemporary books. I like a little bit of romance. I like a little bit of adventure. I love fantasy books when I can get into it, but I find that like my memory is quite poor. So if I don't take a lot of notes while I'm reading a fantasy book, sometimes I just get lost and I don't know what's happening. That's something that I've noticed about myself over the past few years. I truly need to like focus and take notes, or have like someone else's notes to remember like who's who and what different places are, what certain languages mean. And now I have to fix that in a sec. We're done with the tag, but I'm not done with my makeup. I guess the rest of it will have to be more makeup focused. So first of all, I'm just going to intensify my eyebrows a bit. I usually do them a bit more natural like they are right now, and I think this calls for a slightly more intense brow. If you're watching this and you've gotten comfortable with your booktube video making skills or your general video making skills, tell me this, like, if you guys have footage that are maybe like a weird angle, or you're not speaking right, what do you do? Do you refilm, or do you just try to power through? Because on the one hand, I am a bit of a perfectionist and I wouldn't want to put out stuff that I deem quite rubbish, But at the same time, I also want to be more casual and not make it so that I have to fulfill so many conditions before I can post a video. I'm not saying it should be quantity over quality for me, but it just gets a bit disheartening, you know, if you keep like stuffing up and you're just not confident with the videos that you're putting out. Like, is it better to just put out something where maybe the camera angle is not ideal or you're not super happy with your editing? So for lip options, I'm gonna give you 3. The first one would be something that's more neutral, almost an my lips but better kind of thing, but maybe with a slight brown tone. Just if you want to put all the focus on your eyes and not so much on your lips, this is the sort of lip I would go for. My brows are still not filled in enough. Hang on. Okay, so this is lip option number 1. More neutral, more subdued, a bit on the natural side, so all the attention is on your eyes. Lip option number 2 kind of plays into the more monochromatic look. Okay, this is not at all the same shade as what I have on my eyes, but because I have the orange up here, I can go with something more orangey on the lips as well, and it'll still look like quite a cohesive look. So this is lip option number 2, and this is generally what I would go for. So lip option number 3 is more for people who really love a dark lip, and it's a similar principle as lip option number 1, except we make it dark. It'll bring attention to your lips without making your lips suddenly the main focus, if you know what I mean. So it kind of balances out your face a little bit more, in my opinion. And this is lip option number 3. So yeah, this was the booktube newbie tag with a instructional, not very instructional kind of makeup tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay,